here at ACO Radio, American Communications Online, or any affiliated stations or websites are not responsible for what guest hosts or call-ins may say. All programming is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Hello, world. Welcome aboard, all you ground troops spinning around smartly on the planet we call home, Gaia, Earth. Mother Nature is here, as well as us humanoids on the planet. And we are those that have been here happily for 9 years on this very planet. And we are radio people. We are a radio host, co-host, and we are here to bring you the best of the best because we are the American Communications Online. And we're welcoming all you ACO Association, unincorporated social media club people out there over the years with Cyberspace Culture Online. And we are talking to you, yes, all of you that use free social media like Facebook. You've heard of that. You've heard of Twitter and LinkedIn for all you business-to-business people. And now kids using Instagram, a lot of our friends. And we're here to talk about all that, not just TikTok or Snapchat or all the young kids have abandoned most of us on Facebook. We're all the old guys, the cyberspace boomers, they call us, due to baby boomers. But we're going to talk weekly on Thursdays with our TJ Mars ET radio brand talk because we're going to keep that brand going. Even though I have found out that iHeart bought Spreaker, that bought VoxNest, or Spreaker bought VoxNest, that bought Spreaker, that bought Blog Talk Radio, where I began long time ago. And officially, I had been on Blog Talk Radio for years and didn't know it until I bought my own franchise or my own station. And this is ACO now. It was TJ Mars ET Radio, but we're going to keep that brand the same that iHeart kept with Spreaker and Blog Talk Radio. So this is TJ Mars ET Radio brand out there because it's been out there for years as a brand, so why try to reinvent the wheel, right? But this is going to be ACO, and we have ACIR Radio for our secret investigation under the cover. See more butts, right? Under the covers, or is it Under the Bleachers by Seymour Butts, the book that everybody knows about. And we are writers writing books, having fun, and this is the year 2021. Hindsight is 2020 is what that book's all about. That's right, folks. Hindsight is 2020. Just like the year 2020, and believe it or not, Las Vegas is open again as of June 1st, 2021, and we are here to say it live and archive. Now, my new co-host of this world, this planet, is Richard Thomas Knight of California, USA. However, at the time, he has agreed to help me with the southern region of the United States and is thereby residing in Valdosta, Georgia. So all you Valdosta, Georgia people out there, we're giving you a shout-out for Rick Knight, who is a well-known, famous Men in Black. That's right, folks. One of the famous government contractors with me as a former under the cover or under the bleachers with Seymour Butts. We want to laugh a lot these days, and Richard has got a lot of stories to tell about being around the world. And also, when he was born in California, he grew up and learned all about Hollywood and being in security and helping event plan or be at events and bodyguarding and all that stuff. And I did too, believe it or not. I got started at age 3 on KNOE, James A. Noe Station in Monroe, Louisiana. So I've been in front of a camera ever since. However, when Richard and I, through the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, we were secret agent men and women, and we decided to meet here and start a little group of science fiction writers with another guy named Ralph Kennedy Johnston Sr., who I just talked to. He's our man in charge he has a bigger sign on his 5 stars with being a former civil engineer astronaut. That's right. He was one of those weird people we used to say was going to be a spaceman, but he never got to go up in one of the Apollo missions or any of that off the planet. But he did get to wear all the uniforms and do all that, so we're giving a big shout-out for all you people in social media land that work with him on Facebook. Yes, he is still our fearless leader because everybody needs a fearless leader, and he is fearless. He's helped us in the USA and India. He put India on the map with me when he went out of country to India to speak for me and us for our promoting Mars and our books. And he has some stuff he can show. But if you look at our show today, you'll see his secret agent badges. That's right, even Area 51 secret agent badges. You didn't know they existed. I had a magic badge. And Richard Knight, been all over, was out of country, but I'm going to bring him on now because it's just going to be Richard and I welcoming my celebration. Happy birthday to me. 9 years right here, and I sound crappy. I was a singer all those years, and I was made T.J. Morris Love One Another, my big CD with Bluegrass Train A'Comin that got famous for being a train song that went out on a lot of people making money off of me, and Bluegrass Train A'Comin. I'll play it at the end of the show, but Richard T. Knight, let's call you Rick today, Mr. Secret Agent Man in Black. How are you today, Rick?
I'm doing fine, thanks, TJ. I guess we'll call you TJ today.
Okay, yeah, let's be Rick and TJ. Wow, what a plan for you and me. It shortens everything because we wear many hats, and we'll just mention real quickly to mention that he and I are actually clergy, chaplain pastors in the past for the government as far as helping people cross over or helping them in the field and corpsman type, medic type, and being at the guard gate in security out of country. But, Richard, where do you want to start? Let's give them a little bit, because you know how we do in the beginning. We both have a story of origin, but people may be looking at us different because we've never really come out as the people telling the story now. And now that we're retired and going to be like many contractors, we're just going to do a little PR work, a little security work online together, and maybe even go sit in a car in the bushes sometimes. But you can just call us TJ or Rick if you ever walk up on us and know who we are, which is our job was always to be in the bushes, wasn't it, Rick, or somewhere down the road sitting out there. But let's start somewhere. Let's start in California, Rick, because we could talk all day, but it's my anniversary, 9 years on radio. So what does that mean to you to have a partner now on radio that's been same place, same station for 9 years? Does that make me an old guy, or what is that about? And today we're going to do it. You were on here 10 years with Blog Talk, or at least 5. But to start talking about your California days and how we're now retired radio people, but we want to work part doing something. We'll figure it out. But you talk for a minute. Tell us about you in California, Hollywood, and helping people, and what brought us to writing books today.
Well, I started out in California a long, long time ago now, it seems. Like another lifetime ago almost. I spent 20 years in California. It's my native state. And basically I was trained as a private investigator, and I had some very wealthy clients, which due to privileged information I cannot mention their names. But the job was basically finding their children that had scattered all over the country and gotten into cults and drugs and all kinds of different things of that nature. And basically, with waivers in hand and court orders and such, I went about the country and collected them and brought them home. And it paid a very sizable fee. And then in addition to that, I got involved in the esoteric and the metaphysic community, and I was teaching different things such as Kabbalah, and I was doing tarot readings and all of this kind of thing, and met a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life at psychic fairs and that kind of thing. And then I left California and went to New Orleans. of course, the city that time forgot. And I spent 10 long years in New Orleans, and that has probably hundreds of stories in and of itself. But it's always been in service to others. In other words, always with the mind of helping people, whether they needed legal help as far as, getting them the right resources to act on their own behalf or act with legal counsel in courts, or to provide them evidence that would help win their cases in court and that kind of thing. I also spent 4 years with the JAG Corps while I was stationed in New Orleans, and I did that as a legal clerk and company clerk for a detachment over there, and that was quite an experience. Of course, I was only in the reserve. I did not go in full time because I was in a situation that I wanted to leave behind, and I figured that would be an excellent way to leave it behind, and I assure you it most certainly was. I went training and all that good kind of stuff, and I was approached by intelligence at the time, but I asked the man, well, do you know the good guy from the bad guy? And he said, well, no, technically no, because one day you're a good guy and the next day you're kind of a bad guy, and then the next day you're a good guy, and the team kind of works around that and works that way. And I said, well, that's kind of strange. So I have to, we'll have to discuss it as another time. It's another matter or whatever. But yes, I've done all kinds of investigations that involved, let's see, you could say corporate espionage, you could say blackmail, you could say disappearing people, you could say all manner of things, basically speaking. And, of course, I made a tremendous amount of enemies, so I had to lay low for a while. And, in the interim, of course, I happened to become involved in the martial arts. I began training at the age of 9, and I've basically hung up my gloves more or less, although that once you have trained for 30 years, you don't forget the know-how of what you've learned. It becomes kind of embedded in your persona, I guess you could say. But yes, I've done I did some time in the Army, and then later on, I worked as an investigator with a councilman at large. I worked as an investigator for judges. I've worked as an investigator for attorneys. I've worked as an investigator for private and corporations and companies and all that kind of thing. And I've done some things with the government that I can't talk about because unfortunately the statute of limitations in regards to, the Secrecy Act has not quite expired yet. It'll be coming up pretty soon, though. And just been very, very interested, intrigued, and you could say a seeker of truth and knowledge, because I've always loved to be involved in events that were of psychic or paranormal or metaphysical nature. I've done a lot of paranormal investigating where allegedly houses or places were haunted, or helping out individuals that, were basically claiming that, there were spirits in their residences that were not allowing them peace of mind. And as you said earlier, I have been a member of Universal Life Church as an ordained minister now since the 70s anyway, so at least 40 years or more. And, I provide a lot of spiritual counseling in situations where, people are just in crises, basically speaking. And so all around kind of, I wear many hats. I've worn many hats. I've done frontline security for the Army overseas. I've done frontline security for given individuals that were of note. I've done investigations, like I said, from all perspectives other than those considering the seas and that kind of thing. I have worked for immigration as an inspector for a while, and I was director of security for a naval hospital for a while, and just all kinds of different hats. So I have had a great admixture of life in regards to experiences, in regards to situations, in regards to all kinds of things. So that's me in a teaspoon, you could say.
Okay, well, that was a pretty good rundown. And basically the same thing here. I worked in the hospital, but corpsman also security, believe it or not. So I think that's odd that I worked for the Navy. Not that that's odd for a woman, but I went in the 70s and for a little while over about in California, up and down, stayed at in the Marine Corps. What was it, Coronado? And also I worked at Balboa Hospital and over to Marine base, stayed there, and then came back to Houston, did my job and apartment manager and running a daycare center, and then worked for attorneys and investigator for Percy Foreman, actually age 16. My grandmother paid him on my case against Warwick. I was a can when I met Sonny and Cher, Houston, coming to town, and was out at the Sheik's big hotel, broke my tooth. So I got my tooth knocked out now, but my cat lost it, got up and got my cat where I took it out. So I'm a little embarrassed, so that's why we're doing radio only right now. But at the same time, we're going to be doing some YouTubes. We got our pictures out there anyway. We've teamed up with another veteran, me Navy. Richard here, Rick, is Army, and then Tom Schaefer is Navy. He had a high clearance, and Tom has our Free Cosmos here in Florida with me. And I was on his show and talking about mostly psychic stuff because that's what they wanted to talk about. But Richard and I, we wear many hats, so don't let us confuse you. But for all you government contractor people or authors out there, you know the Tom Clancy books. I got to be with SEAL Team 6. I got their tattoo. Basically, got to go and do some UFO work here and there with the J. Allen Hynek teams. And Stanton T. Friedman was assigned the Roswell case as a nuclear physicist, but I met him when I was a kid at midnight in a black van, and then he saw my magic paper binder book, but I wouldn't give it to him, and so my code name was Magic, Rick. Do you know, but you may not know anything about that, Rick. Let me know. Do you know anything about Magic or my code name, why they gave that to me in Men in Black?
No, actually, not a whole lot anyway.
Okay, good. Well, good. Then that means I can write the book and edit it, give it to you, and you can edit it with an unbiased opinion. That's a good deal for all you other people out there that in the UFO world should be freaking out about it. But that's okay because there really was a Magic, and I was given that name and had no clue what it meant. I learned real quick going in and out of government contracting and on and off bases with my clearances, and I had no idea. They kept me dumb as a rock in and out of country and in and out of different bases, and that was in a special program, they said. So I got to wear all the uniforms except Coast Guard. I was sent to Coast Guard to learn and train from Birmingham, Alabama to Corpus Christi to New Orleans, Houston, up West Virginia area, out to Hawaii, Chicago, Great Lakes. Lord of mercy, I've been all over training. They got millions of dollars invested in me, Rick. So I guess we're supposed to live to tell the tale is what I'm figuring. So I finally decided after 50 years, in and out of country, in and out of uniform, in and out of contracts, that I'd wake up and tell the story with you. What do you think? What do you think about us telling people about we're going to write a book?
Sounds good. I'm sure it'll be interesting, no doubt, because, you know, all kinds of circumstances and situations go on behind the scenes that a lot of people are not aware of, and the government takes keen interest in certain areas of research, such as UFOs and aliens and all that kind of thing, and there's a great deal of information that has yet to come out or be, you know, made public because, you know, Secrecy Act and all kinds of things of that nature. But, yeah, I think the two of us could combine a very interesting book indeed.
Okay, well, I think that's what our ACO Press Club is going to be about. We're going to be open, what we're going to call open source intelligence, but at the same time, we believe now we can tell our truth. But Rick, also, we're starting an MIB book. I was a woman MIB, but why don't you start today? Tell us something about the New Orleans stuff. I know one of your stories about a witchy woman, but I love all that, and so do people, and I'm really upset that they took the movie Debris off. Hope somebody will pick up those stories. They have 13 episodes, DEBRIS. I was talking about Debris with Brad Olson on the last show the other night with Brad Olson. If y'all remember Brad, he'd been to Antarctica, and we talked about the black goo or the intelligence like it was on the movie Lucy. But Richard and I, Rick here, are working on our script for our 13 episodes in our own, look for our show about like the debris. And we'll start with the magic and the Roswell debris, with me telling the story that I was involved with J. Allen Hynek and CUFOS and MUFON and NASA. And mostly my story, I had only what I knew as the experiencer. So, Richard, this is going to sound funny, folks, but Richard and I have crossed paths, but based on being same place, same time, usually not the same time, but it walks some of the same steps as investigators. And this book will probably prove some similarities, serendipity, synchronicity, and curiosity that they say killed the cat that has 9 lives. But we're going to try to make it as fun and exciting as it can, because we want you to be able to see it on the Discovery or the Travel Channel or History Channel or Paramount or Peacock or Universal or who knows, Richard. There's so many. I don't know, Richard, but I want us, because I'm with IMDb and Amazon, everybody is, Rotten Tomatoes, and, read and review TVs. But, Richard, that debris, I told you or introduced you to, DEBRIS, but can you talk anything about anything you saw? Because they pulled it off the air. Now it's going on Peacock, I think, 13 episodes. But they said NBC pulled it off the air, and I'm real upset about that. So I don't know. It'll run the rampants on Netflix or whatever. But anyway, just tell people anything you remember about debris, and then bring it into how our book would be something like starting somewhere. We don't own that, folks. We were just observers. But some of the stuff they went in, I've seen, like stopping people, or the Lucy goo being shot like a dot, like they accused Bill Gates of doing, and the richest man in the world and his beautiful wife, Melinda, but them figuring out with people at Rice University whether we're supposed to talk about it or not, but we are investigator reporters. But, folks, we don't have all the details, so we're just going to represent ACO Association out there in entertainment today, okay, Richard? So we can pretty much talk about anything, open source opinion. And then our ACO Press Club will work out to getting both sides of the story and the truth as it's presented to the best of mine and Richard's ability. When we get on a topic, we'll take it to the best we can and give you the date and the sources. But, Richard, just sort of discuss a little bit anything you saw on debris for a minute, if you don't mind.
Well, I followed basically the entire series as it was broadcast on NBC, and I found it to be very intriguing and very interesting. These off-world pieces of debris that had fallen to Earth, and they're not sure exactly what they culminate to become or exactly where they actually originated from. So we don't know if we're talking a ship that busted up somewhere in our stratosphere or somewhere in outer space that in turn became these various pieces of debris. Some of them are like rock-like and some of them are metallic. And the thing of it is, they have both mental, emotional, and even psychic effect on human beings. Some completely rewrote some of the investigators' life stories. There was one piece of debris that basically, in a manner of speaking, brought one of the researchers back to life, whereas his timeline had ended, and somehow by becoming exposed to this particular piece of debris, it gave him a second chance on life in regards to running a few more years in the instance of becoming involved with his daughter, who was also one of the investigators. And the investigating organization is also very shadowy because it doesn't actually identify itself during the series. It just gives you the impression that actually it's something along the lines of NSA, the National Security Agency, or something of that genre anyway. And they go out in the field and they have detectors that evidently are somehow electronically and metallically deriving the presence and location of these various pieces of debris. Now, the show that I found the most interesting was the one that was just off the coast of the ocean, right next to a house that was more or less on a cliff. And the people, the kids and so forth involved would actually dive into the water and actually go to sort of like a cave, and the cave itself had actually become embedded with a piece of debris or something. But anyway, as soon as you swam through a certain portion of it, it created a light effect that actually changed that person's entire timeline, and actually became kind of like a time loop, you could say. So that basically they were reliving certain instances, like, for example, when the investigators came to their house on a certain day and a certain time, they were there, and the kid, the young man involved, already knew that they were coming and approximately when they would arrive and all of this kind of thing. And unfortunately, that was basically where the series more or less kind of ended, because there was no conclusion to that, because it circled back around and brought in the researcher that was the lady investigator's father, and it also brought in other investigators that had either died in the field or else their timelines had brought them to other courses of investigation or other things outside of the debris, and yet at the same time they were showing up inside the story. So it was very complex and very interesting. And of course, whenever you watched the episode, you always came away with 20 more questions than you actually had them when you began watching it. So it was very interesting. So I'm not sure exactly how we could tie such a series in, or, kind of make a parallel. I guess you could say by debriefing people in regards to information on certain events that occurred that were not, noted to the public. That would be similar to discovering like a piece of debris. In other words, you bring a person in and you show them, well, okay, at this certain day and time, this individual, and this individual were gathered here, and this is in turn what happened. And that is similar to what the debris was all about, because the people would go there and they would find the debris, and the debris would have very strange effects upon them. And of course, each of these instances with a particular given piece of the debris would affect that person's life and anyone associated with it. And of course, along come the investigators who were assigned to not only locate this debris, but also the government itself would actually go out and collect these pieces of debris, and they were accumulating a large storage area with all these various pieces of debris. And then, as though you didn't have enough going on in the story itself, they also had another agency or another group of people that began to collect debris, and they intended to use it in a different way than the government planned on using it, in regards to kind of creating some kind of positive effect overall. Now, of course, when you write a book, you always hope that, the person gets kind of sucked in to actually kind of in a sort of manner speaking, live in the story themselves, so that they actually see themselves as a character in the book. And then in turn, they benefit from the experiences that are shared in the book, and they walk away with a sense of more information, perhaps a little bit of education here and there, and perhaps overall a sense of better well-being, because I know that when I like to read books, that's what I expect to happen. I expect to be kind of engrossed or sucked in by the characters and all the interplay between the characters and all the involvement of the characters and, the various things, the situations the characters are getting into. So that's my general impression of Debris, and I mean, that's just a very short prognosis on it, really, because It's a very intricate series, and I'm not sure why they pulled it off the air other than to say maybe it was getting too close to something that may perhaps be going on already in real life behind the scenes somewhere.
I read something because I was really shocked, but apparently people that run those things on their TVs from home or whatever, I've seen when I was in Hollywood, I got to do quite a few. They're always pulling people in off the street from Grumman's Chinese Theater, and over there a friend of mine runs his office right across from there and does the same thing. There are different companies have people come in and watch, pull 100 people, watch something, agree to watch it, preview it, are a part of it, and ask their opinion. So it's one of those things where they cut them off before the 12th, but they finished the 13th, but they left us up in the air. But with you and me, when you were talking, I saw me and you being investigators, but also tying in with Dr. Rick Allen Miller, which we promised to write his character and work with him and his publishing company. And then we've got T.J. Marsh Publishing, which is mine, and my family had the Timely Manner Books imprint from years ago, with my mother being an educator, all of them were school teachers, but she wrote for Texas Monthly and wrote for a social column with the Heartbeats that Grady's dead now. I guess Martha is. Grady Hallman had the Heartbeats with Dr. John Hill, which were friends of ours, my husband and mine, and Houston, when I was a spinneret and met Cher and her mother. God, what a beautiful woman. And the mother. Well, Cher was too, but she didn't talk. When I met her, she was quiet, didn't say anything. Her mother talked to me, and Sonny did in Houston. I was just 15. And so she was real young, but Sonny started talking to me. I was the first one in the line because I was tallest, tall brunette. But he said, "Aren't you a tall drink of water?" I thought that was fun. But I got to meet Sonny later on when he was a mayor or governor or something in a plane. I don't know if it was presupposed or not, because what I'd like to do with Richard, going back to this debris, is I've had a lot of famous stars I've met helping on Cloak and Dagger investigations, because they love to be involved with the government and other countries. And I learned an awful lot in 50 years. So we will say, Richard, that you're going to help me write a book from May 10th, 1967. The backstory will have to be anything from before that. So I may be a little older than you, 4 years or so. So we'll say when you were about 10. Let's see, if I was 15 in 67 when I met Sonny and Cher, and his Sonny's, it was Cher's mother, and she was beautiful and a very famous actress, singer type. I've seen her on RuPaul. Do you remember her name? We can't look it up right now, folks, because we got our studio all hooked up to our computer. So when y'all hear us talking, we're just talking live, talk show live. Do you remember her name? Somebody?
I don't off the top of my head.
Well, we're under entertainment today, Richard, so I don't have any of our psychic callers or, wanting life coaching. We're also life coaches, folks, and we're intuitive insight psychics and help people on radio sometimes. But we're sort of running a gambit on that because we're going back into this writing books and need our time for writing our series and episodes, working with some other people in Canada, Australia, and Ethiopia. And then Richard and I have another partner, Gigi, Queen Gigi, on Instagram, and she's working on some stories with us and Tom Schaefer, too, with our Free Cosmos nonprofit and all that. But we'll see how that goes. But today, Richard and I are going to start our club, our science fiction writers. And like I said, I called Ken for all you people that love astronauts and Mars stories and follow our UFO groups with Ken, because Ken just loves to talk ET stuff. But Richard and I are going to be more down to earth as investigators today. Now, I know that Ken will follow us on our UFO, cosmology, metaphysics, stories with us and on Sundays. But today is a whole new reality that we are sharing. Why is somebody calling me right now? Can you hear me, Richard?
I don't know. Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, good. I'm talking on the set 9100 number, so that other one is so fancy, folks. It's got so many bells and whistles on it, I can't figure it out, some of these phones. But I've noticed coming back into the business, Richard and I would be considered old guys in the old gum shows, shoes like the real Men in Black with Will and, darn, he's my favorite actor from Texas. What's his name, the two Men in Black on the movie Men in Black? Tommy Lee Jones, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, think of it as two people, whether it's, what's Will's Smith, right?
Yep.
So Richard and I are going to think of us sort of like those kind of investigators, but for real, because that's kind of, we did undercover stuff that nobody knew about. But also think about X-Files with Mulder, and what was the woman's name? Fox Mulder and the red-haired chick, and I've even had red hair most of my life, brunette red hair. I'm white as snow right now with some copper strands in it. What was her character's name? Lord of mercy, folks. Anyway, tell me, it's in this reality right now. I'm trying to get you.
You're going away. I can't hear you clearly.
Oh, sorry. I'll sit forward. I don't know that will help. Let me get people trying to mess with me on my phone. In order to do radio, I'm going to have to buy another phone just to talk to you people, because this is real simple. And a lot of radio companies didn't understand how we could do it with just a cell phone, but we can. And that, through the years, has thrown everybody for a loop. And to have such good pickup. And, Richard, you listen to our shows on radio, on Stitcher, iHeart, Spotify. I go around and listen to them, Blueberry, SoundCloud, all over. And I've had them all over the world for 9 years. And even on YouTube now. I put them on Spreaker and they go on YouTube. And we sound really good. The only thing is if you have a dog or a cat or cars in the background, but today it's been really good. Excuse me. But back to the storyline. Richard and I will be the real investigators that have done some real stuff. And at the time, you're getting, you need to get paid, folks. You got to eat, okay? So don't hate us. Sure, there's going to be haters out there, Rick, but we'll get over it. But we're going to build up from today forward. This is a number 9. This is my 9th year. It is a Thursday, and Richard and I have been doing shows all year. I think he claimed February 22nd was his. I don't know. It'll be on here because the archives don't lie. You know why? We can hear our voices. So, but Richard, what day did you claim starting officially on this radio station or brand, TJMRCT Radio? Do you remember?
I don't off the hand. I mean, I know it was sometime in February.
I know you and I did some shows for Janet out of Hawaii in the beginning, you and me together. But I don't remember when that was. But that was last year in 2020, right?
Yeah, well, that was on her radio show program as well. That wasn't on yours.
Yeah, we were on Aquarian Radio then. But Richard and I are doing this one. I don't know, folks. Anyway, just mark it down today that you guys are starting all over with Richard and I. If you want to join us, we're going to give you a $2 a month membership if you want to be in our books or radio shows. But Richard and I are going public, and we have a lot of experience, a lot of training. We're both life coaches. We're both psychic readers, intuitive readers, if you will. And because we've traveled the world and we've traveled the United States, coast to coast, you know, he was born in California and lives in as far east. It's just about touching the water, and I am touching the water. So I'm right in Gulf Breeze, right at the 3-mile bridge over to Pensacola. So there's water in front of me to both sides of me. And you got to get to me from Pensacola by bridge. And I'm telling you, as we were east to west coast here, and we've got people listening to us all over the world. I can show you the back door, China, Australia, the Emirates. A lot of people in Dubai like us. Now, for a while, they'd cut them out and wouldn't let them listen to us, but I see some coming back. So I guess they must have worked out their deal, Richard, in Dubai with some people. I know they own some of the Philippines. Did you know that, Richard? Dubai, Emirates has some Philippines?
Say again?
I know.
Something about Dubai?
Yeah, Dubai, the Emirates, Arabian Emirates. Hold on, the dogs are going to bark. Anyway, I'm just talking around the world.
UAE,
anyway,
United Arab Emirates.
Something. United Arab Emirates. Yeah, they own a piece of the Philippines because when I went on my list of countries and I was on Google when it was asking me how I was going to run my business from Gulf Breeze, and Google, wants to date you and map you and put every country and every company you got and where you work. So I went ahead and added that because I have people listeners, and I've had people call in before, just like from around over in China and Hong Kong. They used to call in. But most of them all wanted to talk about the UFO stories. They were most interested over 9 years in all those stories. And then they liked conspiracy theories. So it's always that kind of stuff, curiosity, that you don't hear on the regular news. Now, funny enough, Richard and I have been the people helping the rich people that like to keep everything secret. And the government likes to keep everything secret. But, we're on the entertainment PR side of the house, and a lot of things are supposed to be cleared, but we're not going to talk about those agencies, not openly anyway, I guess. People call them the vegetable soup, the numbers, and but you can sort of guess. But on debris, they have actually put, back to that debris part because it rhymes with the Roswell debris that I actually was an investigator on, believe it or not, sent after it. So I'm going to send I don't know, Richard, we need to start somewhere. As of today, this is going to start our story, our first book, and it's a table deal, and it's all ATABL is all things allowed by law. I actually set up a Gmail for that, for my book series, for my science fiction writers, and we're going to write science fiction writing based on the truth. So you'll have to figure out what is based on real story, just like in Debris, is actually tracking how the Roswell incident, when it imploded, and I'm telling you the truth, anybody out there that believes in disclosure from real-time investigators, Richard Dolan kept asking for people like me, and he never even looked into who I really was. So how good a historian is Richard Dolan really? Intrigue and internet hosting. Now, there's all kind of culture, counterculture, and wars, Richard. And we're going to have cyberspace culture. And I think you and I, after 9 years, they know I can't hurt them too bad, right? You know what I'm saying, Richard? That I can keep a secret if I have to. And you can too, right?
Sure.
But I put us, you and me only. Nobody else is here. Nobody has ever done radio with me. I'm not sponsoring anybody's events. I'm not going to claim any of those UFO things I've already talked about. This is going to be Richard and TJ's story. But we can base it on truth and fiction. And if you people want to be in our writers group, we have an authors club organization, ACO, always have. I introduced it 9 years ago, right here on this very day. And if any of you didn't take advantage of it, that's on you, not me. I've been here. So if you didn't find it in your heart when I have been so open for 9 years to pick up the phone and call me or find me in social media on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or LinkedIn, that's on you. But as of today, I have chosen a partner in crime. Not really. We're going to do all things allowed by law, I just told you. So Richard and I will be all things allowed by law, a table deal. I'll put it on the end of this little part of this show. And this will be our record of starting our science fiction writers meetup group with Ken Johnston, which I told him a couple of months in April. And we hadn't done a thing on it to meet up yet. Of course, they just opened up No Mask in June in Vegas. But Ken is in October 8th is his birthday, and I guess we're going to try to work out something with him because he wants to talk all his intrigue in next book. And I promised him I'd help him with a book after me. And he met with William Tompkins and Emery Smith and David Wilcox. Those UFO events in person and do speaking engagements with Richard. Now, I was on the radio with Laura Eisenhower, who was mostly women mystique and New Age stuff, but because of her name, I think it was her grandfather was Eisenhower, so she's making Dwight Eisenhower.
You're breaking up a little bit for some reason.
I don't know. Oh, well, okay, I think I do know. I'm between 8 military bases, but I'm next to people when they fly over jets. Yeah. I can hear one going over.
Right.
Yep. It makes a roar. You may not can hear the roar, but I can. So if I break up, I can't help it. Somebody told me there's something on those jets that it will knock off something to do in the air from the tower to my cell phone. Does that make sense, Richard? You can look into it.
Yeah, it may scramble signals.
Oh.
Deliberately.
Well, yeah, because it may not be it's probably the military ones, right? Because it may not be like TWA, I don't think that's even around anymore. American Airlines. I don't even know all those airlines I used to fly.
Delta.
Southwest, Delta. Yeah, I flew Delta for sure. I used to have all those cards and miles I lost, especially all those miles I lost flying to Hawaii as Theresa J. Thurmond. I was T.J. Thurmond Orr, in and out of country and on my passport. But I don't even have those passports.
Can't hear you.
Yeah. You can't hear me?
I lost you for a couple minutes.
That is so strange. Well, it's gone now.
Yeah.
So let's see if you can keep me. I apologize. Plus, is it stopped raining in Georgia?
Well, for the moment, anyway.
Okay. Well, it's sunny and beautiful here in Gulf Breeze, but I don't know of any other radio stations in Gulf Breeze, but we are at Mecca. A Mecca home for UFOs, and with Dr. Bruce Maccabee that helped me start the ACO Alien Contact Organization. It's open source, free to anyone that wants to be known. But Richard, I got tired of paying all the bills and not getting any help, so I sort of gave up on trying to keep up with everybody. So that's one thing that social media is going to have to be good for. So all those people that were following me on social media, if y'all want to listen to Richard and I or be in our lives, we may drop our accents from time to time and sound like we're from England or Australia or Ireland. But we may trick you once in a while, but we're going to do our best to entertain you, and we'll have a really good time, okay? Richard, let me entertain you. So, Richard, if I send you a book with I Start, 50 years, May 10th, 1967 to May 10th, 2017. They made 50 years, okay?
Yeah.
That's a lot of living. People probably don't care because it's behind them. We know the kids won't. However, there may be some good intrigue, gumshoe, or what they used to like in intelligence was people that they sent into the field, right? But they wouldn't claim us BNOCs. Like, it's a lot like the born supremacy on a few of my cases, because they would just kick me out, shut the door, and act like they didn't know me. And trust me, that's exactly what they did, and it made me feel like crap because I was on my own, but I was going after some of the biggest cases and the biggest corporations in the world, and nobody knew who I was, including the people that were hiring me. But it was either government or rich attorneys. So I'll leave it at that. But there's some good information out there. But, Richard, I guess the first one we ought to start with is something similar to Debris. So what are we going to call that kind of book? It's not really military intrigue, and it's not really science fiction because we're going to base it on the truth. It's is there a name? We don't have to worry about it because we're going to discuss it here on the radio to keep people interested. But like you said, whoever wrote that Debris and did the screenplay and the script, they left more questions, and I like that. It's exactly, when you said it today, Richard, that's what I liked about it.
Well,
Debris.
X-Files was exactly the same way. X-Files, each episode always left you a cliffhanger. You always had to try and figure out, well, who was doing what to who, or was there something that actually happened, or was it all imagination, or exactly what?
Yeah, so that's the kind of books I want to write and the stories I want to tell on the radio, and have a weekly radio show that people in the hospital or my truck drivers that listen to me. I want to be like the daytime Art Bell, because I can only get you from 5 to 7 right now because of your intense work that you're doing. And so 5 to 7 on Thursdays, live 2-hour show. So my daughter just walked in, Angela Parrish, and she's helping me with my ACO Association with Stephanie, and we'll keep up with you. But, Richard, how are we going to do this so we can let members, if they want to be in our meetup on, do we want to do it on Skype? Because you've only, this is at the end of this write-up for today's show and our anniversary. Angela, it's 9 years today is my anniversary for being on this show. Yeah, and iHeart's bought Spreaker, Box Nest, and Blog Talk Radio. iHeart, and I've been with them for years. So, well, Richard, I don't know how we're going to make this happen, but as of today, folks, if you want to join us, we've got ACO Press Club for our journalists. Now, only requirement is I ask you to also join the Society of Professional Journalists, and as I talked to them years ago, I can't make you, but it's the oldest, and we have some ethics that we like to follow in the Society of Professional Journalists, and if you're a certain age, you can sign on like I did. I'm a senior professional, and I've been with them since 78, ACIR, and they know that. And I talked to one of the women that was like the president of the company, and they get together in New Orleans every year, September, October. Well, it's usually New Orleans, Richard. I'd like to come get you and or have you meet me here because you could drive over here, and then we could go on to New Orleans. But represent us and our new company for everybody that wants to join us. So that's June, July, August, 3, maybe by September, New Orleans. But it's spj.org, everybody that wants to join us. SPJ, 3 initials. I don't know how they got that in cyberspace culture. That's a short domain back during the .com days. spj.org. Now, we are ACO Association, but we have call signs for ACO and ACIR, and I've had TJ Mars ET Radio is long, but TJ Mars ET Radio with Blog Talk, because Canada, Dirk Vanderplug, who has passed over, my producer, he is no longer on the planet. And then my producer with Ron Howard and Brian Grazer and entertainment out there in Hollywood when I was in their office with their attorneys, I had an office in California for 5 years. See, Richard doesn't recall this probably, but I had a real office, and my daughter Angela, come here and say hi in a minute because, yeah, this is where we talk about you being in a movie. She said, no. I said, no. My daughter Angela, I put her in a movie called, what was she in? Let's see. I'm trying to think. God, I've been on so many movie sets. Oh, I remember. It wasn't by choice. I know a lot of y'all thinking because I'm a psychic, and I was Michael Jackson's psychic, one of many, but I really liked him. But it was Witchcraft 3. And if all you people that follow movies, they have their own following, believe it or not. And Angela was in the Witchcraft 3 as the model that she is. She's still tall and beautiful. Would you say hi to everybody? Say hi to Richard just one time on the anniversary, please. She doesn't want to. That's why she is not anymore in movies. All right. Thank you, Angela. I love you. She came and fed my kitty cats for me. All right. Well, that's okay, folks. This is live, and she is a movie star, my daughter, Angela Parrish, all you people that keep up with credits. And my name is on there as Jungle Beach because we supplied some of they carried the camera equipment. My other daughter that is now passed, Ginger Parrish, is no longer on the planet. She was in Witchcraft 3. Pick it up. I would say it's your blockbuster because I was with all those people that not only were the producers and in and out of Hollywood and in and out of producers and being a psychic and meeting people and on the red carpet. I proposed that to my publicist. I know this sounds funny being an investigator, but I was still an investigator. They just didn't know it. But I was also a psychic, and I was also in the U.S. Navy, and I was also running a corporation, and I was also going to people synergistically involved. And I had been with Bob Hope back in 1967, I think, again, or 66. At Fort Polk. And then I was on the stage with Bob Hope in Dallas. And, I was with Bing Crosby. I was with Anita Bryant, Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby was funny, and I liked his wife, but I would sit with his wife a lot. Bing Crosby, to me, his head looked bigger than his body. If you ever notice I don't know how they did that on movies, but I guess he's passed now. But I met a lot of famous people that people today don't even know who I'm talking about, probably listening. But getting to meet famous...
Gone way far distance. There you go.
Yeah, and it kicked something. All of a sudden the signal gets weak and my screen went dark. But I met a lot of movie stars, which would make for interesting, really, if I told my truth. But I don't know that I'll ever do that. Maybe if I get really old and I remember if I haven't got Alzheimer's. They say I don't.
Well, you can talk about us in roundabout ways. So I think we'll call this the Kaleidoscope Project.
Oh, interesting.
Because a kaleidoscope, it's a vision that shows you a particular event or a particular situation very up close, but yet at the same time, because it's a kaleidoscope, there are all kinds of different views.
Well, yeah, and now things have changed in Hollywood, and all the big, great people, now there's only a conglomerate of, it used to be, maybe 3 to 5. And now we've got the National Archives showing us old stuff that I'm known with a Smithsonian and archivist with Ace Folklife, and then up in Kentucky when I was doing IBMA and BMI, Broadcast Music Incorporated, singer-songwriter. But that's the last they remember me being out in 2004 and 5 with the Country Music Association and meeting with the president or the woman of Broadcast Music Incorporated, and she had me with Viacom, and I don't know if I was writing or what all I was doing, but she put with BMI Viacom, and then I'll let BMI know, I was writing songs, and I paid about $85K at one time to all these great people through the years that when I got hurt, and to the total of getting my back broke and neck broke, and then I was disabled. So I had to learn to walk and talk, and that's why I started singing again and how I got involved in CMA and IBMA. But, you got to learn to get back up again, Richard, when you get broke, and that's what you're doing right now. So I've talked enough about me. We're on the hour. Right now, folks, it's on the hour. We would be doing a commercial. So if any of you would like us to talk on the hour and promote your business out of the United States or out internationally, we're going to be ACO International now, and let us know. We'll throw you in a 1-minute MP3. You can make it yourself, or I'll make it for you. And we'll throw it right here in the middle, our own, because I pay for this. Now, I know all these big companies are making money off of Richard and I today that talk and own all this. But since I pay for this, I think I still own my own publishing rights. But I'm not real sure how that works. I'm going to get Richard to help me look into all that. Richard, you'll have to look in to how much, once it's out there public, does that mean we no longer own the copyrights? Do you know?
I'm not exactly sure.
I don't either. So all you attorneys out there, electronic business, let me and Richard know, because Richard and I are going to write books. We know we'll own that, but once we put it on Amazon and Lulu, because either or, I always went with Lulu because they were real good about giving me my checks. Amazon, not so much. And all of us got to use Amazon. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that it seems like I get my checks from Lulu better than I do from Amazon. Now, I don't know why that is. Is it because Amazon's so much bigger? Or what?
Probably.
I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe.
And it's getting bigger as we speak. I mean, they're buying different companies and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Expanding out.
Well, let me tell you something you don't know, Richard. Brad Olson, the guy that he has CCC Publishing, is cross-working with me in audio-video now, so he's one of our people in his publishing company, Richard. So T.J. Mars Publishing, CCC Publishing, and Oak Publishing. And so we've got ACE, our ACE Folk Life Club, ACE, and then we've got my Timely Manner books for Mother's eBooks, the $2.99 ones. Richard and I are going to put out some short ones just to see if we can get some income going to pay for this radio show. And then he can figure out if we own the rights or not as of today, because he knows what it costs me per week, and we'll figure that cost in. But Richard, figure it out, because they all make money off of the advertising. But you can get all business like on me or with me, can't you? We'll figure it out, folks.
We'll figure it out, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but I think we can throw our own MP3 in here, Richard, but let's check it out. So, folks, but anyway, if you want to work with us there, a minimum of $2 a month, that's only $24 a year, folks. But if you give us $5 a month, we'll throw you up a page on one of our mini guides. We've got Mystic Guide, Psychic Guide, Esoteric Guide, and Spirituality Wellness Guide. So I don't know if I'm going to keep all 4 of them for a year. I mean, I will for 1 year, okay, from June, but actually May, because I've had to pay for all of them in May, Richard. So we'll be telling everybody, if you want to get in on the bandwagon and get you a byline as a writer, all you people on the internet and around the world, we're the real deal. We're the real authors. We're the real writers, the real editors, the real publishers, as far as we know. And we're teaming up with other authors, script writers, movie makers, videographers around the world. And I've been with them for years and years. I just didn't get out there and work my network. But people are wising up, because what's happened is I'm turning in my name and telling people I'm coming back to work, meaning I'm okay. The difference is I've been helping people social media for free all these years and not telling them who I really was or what all I could really do. And they weren't putting it all together because they didn't know. They were growing up and getting older and didn't know how the world worked. And I was one of the original, out there working and doing with all the levels of life. And I realized there are levels and dimensions in this reality, not only in life as on the other side, life after life, with those that have passed on. And 9 years ago, Lynn Caston asked me. Lynn is an author with Dare and another one, but he was recently on Gaia. He's promoting his book, and he just picked up Robert Morning Sky's story. We have Robert Morningstar, who was with me in Canada, and he lives in New York. Robert Morningstar is getting well known on his own show. But he got started years and years ago with me and Dirk Vanderploeg, and if it wasn't for Robert Morningstar, Canada and the UFO Digest probably wouldn't have gotten out there the way it did in the business. And Robert Morningstar was out doing all the networking for Dirk Vanderploeg, bless his heart, on the other side. So we've got all these people that I know on the other side now, Richard. We call them what? Over, like my husband and Ginger, Gigi. What do we call them now? Because they're still there. We just can't see them.
They are who they are. I mean, we have the memory of them as they shared their life with us, and that's who they are.
So they're still there as long as, they say Elvis left the building, but did he? Because as long as he's alive in your memory and we know what he looks like in our mind, he still lives. So if you want to be a memory like that and still live in this reality, let us know, because a lot of our people believe in God with a big G, and a lot of them believe there are no gods with a little g, and yet other people over Hindus and all that believe there's many gods, and then there's those that believe in science only, that there are no God, and then we have those that go to the 12-step programs that believe there's a higher power. And then there's those that believe in quantum physics, there's a source, or the source of everything, or the Tom Campbell big toe theory, the theory of everything. And so we've got all these ways to think about how we all began, but nobody truly, and I say this as truth, that if there is a truth, it is that the one thing that is constant in the universe is change. And nobody really knows the truth. I don't care who they are. Richard, how say you on that particular thought in our book?
Well, I think everybody has a piece of the truth, or what they believe to be true for themselves, or what they believe to be the truth of their experience. So, I don't discredit anyone or, say that anyone is any more knowledgeable than another, really.
What
we all share this.
What about Morg? What about Hyperionism? Did you ever look at Morg YouTube channel? I like Morg, the guy that looks like Edgar Winter. Well, folks, we're talking entertainment now, and I paid a monthly fee or something to watch YouTube Morg Official, or either on his page. No, I didn't pay his Patreon. I paid him on his Super Chat or something. Morg, I don't know who he is, Richard. That's for everybody. Can y'all figure out what his real name is? We'll start Investigation Weekly. Who is Morg Official? MORGUE-OFFICIAL. He looks like an old friend of mine I met in Houston, Edgar Winter. He had a brother, I think it was Johnny Winters. And I knew them in Houston, and they'd sit with us in between sets, and my husband would play trumpet, and I would dance and sing, or just mainly dance. And Donna Parrish would too. We both had little black, cute dresses on. You don't know what I'm talking about, Richard, but I told you to look him up on YouTube. Did you have time or not? Because you're so busy, Richard.
I've had a bit of a view, but that was it. Just a short snippets.
Oh, so he's got white hair like me. He has no eyebrows, but he's not a he or a she. And we discussed that Wednesday with Melinda T. Clare on Wednesday Women Day. So me and you are going to have Thursday talk day about anything, our press club, but entertainment. Thursday's entertainment. Did you look at him to see what you thought?
Not in depth, no. I haven't had a chance. I've had a lot on my plate recently.
Yeah, you have. You've had a lot. So we're happy to have Richard with us on Thursdays, and maybe Sunday is Pastor Rick, if he'll help me get that nonprofit going with Gigi and Tom and Ken. But we'll see, folks. But you're welcome. We're going to throw the doors open. Is the same time, Richard, 4 to 6 or 5 to 7 your time, right, Richard?
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, 5 to 7 on Sundays, just to throw that in. But that's going to be our spiritual day. So we'll talk more good, kind thoughts, and maybe even metaphysical, because it's open to our mystics, oracles, psychics, sages, seers on Sundays. So we'll talk more metaphysical that day. Thursday's going to be more he and I, down-to-earth ACO Press Club, but also it's our entertainment day to discuss our books and what we're talking about is Authors Club Online, and him and I as Men in Black writing our books. If you'd like to be in our Science Fiction Writers Club and be a character on some of the episodes, and may wind up seeing yourself on television someday in 2022 or 3, right? Because all these series and episodes are being bought up by the bigger companies, and we've got hundreds of hours here that we can use and write them up in our scripts. But Richard and I are going to start with each other, and I'll throw him over some of this kaleidoscope of follies, and I guess he can separate them into the different books. Now, Richard, I've got what I was doing with my past crew, which you know Janet and Tommy, but we had aliencontact.org, but they weren't writing into my model with my articles. Like I had to do the articles and the topics and stuff, but that's okay because now Tommy has his own show, folks, and because it's the anniversary, I'll mention them one time today as a freebie for Janet and Tommy, because for 9 years it's hard to break. But me and Rick here go forward from today. But for all you old fans and friends of all of ours with Thomas Anthony Sinisi out in New Jersey, I have a new girl out of Fort Lee, New Jersey, Melinda Tio Claire D'Amico. Italian again, but at least she is taking that. But she's got a New Jersey accent, so tune in on Wednesdays. Now, Janet's place with the Ascension Center is really Rick here, and Janet still has Aquarian Radio in Hawaii, which she broke off from me, but I have the first 30-minute show, and in honor of history, 9 years ago today, I did my first 30-minute show here as TJMRC2 Radio, and it was Len Kasten, and I want you to look up his book, Lenkasten. And Richard, I can't think of his book right now, but it's Robert Morningsky's story about in space, not Project Serpo. He had already wrote that about those like going into space, but he covers a different group of beings that they were like insects, they said. So Ken likes to follow stories that are really folk life, folks, whether it's true or not. And I don't know if he handled it on Gaia TV like it was real or not, or if he even believes whether it's real what he's writing. But Len is an author that started right here with me. He had already written a book. You can go back and listen 9 years ago, but you can find a lot of history right here. And Janet Lesson introduced me to Len Kasten and Apollo, out of, he was in Arizona. I think he was in, well, y'all have to tell me. He mentions it 39 years ago today. I'm going to send it to Richard so Richard can see how we started. So there's no question in our press club, ACO Press Club. And if you want to go to an event and get a press pass, you have to be a member of mine and Richard's club that we recognize you as an investigator or investigative reporter or a journalist. And in our group, if you want to do UAP Associates, you have to be a member. And that's just the way it's going to be. And you're going to have to support us and have similar interests and help us pay our bills. And I don't think that's too much to ask after 9 years of me paying the bills. So Richard said, I'll help you, TJ. We'll just do it together, and we'll build something, and all the members can pay, and then we'll do a webinar once in a while or a workshop or an event. And we've planned one with Ken.
You faded out.
We planned an event, ACO Event Managers, with Ken R. Johnston, ACO Association, Allied Command Intergovernment Relations, or Allied Command Intergalactic Relations, with Ralph Kennedy Johnston, folks, October 8th. Put it on your calendars. I don't even know what day that is, but that's his birthday. He'll be 70. Right, Richard?
I believe so.
And he apologized to everybody today because he was 3 hours in the doctor's and he was tired. But he wished everybody happy anniversary because he's been with us since 2012. And so happy anniversary, everybody. Janet, Tommy, Ken, Apollo, Lynn Caston. That was the group. And we wish everybody well. But now Richard has threw the gauntlet down and he picked it up. And he says, I'll do the honorary. He said, be sure and put honorary because we don't got no money, honey. This ain't funny. So I said, okay. And so Rick, R-I-C-K, out there on YouTube land, we've got Theresa J. Morris, TJ Morris Agency, ACO Club, all out there on YouTube video. And I'm going to make sure Richard goes to his Gmail, pulls up his Richard or Rick Knight, and we put all the videos I've made to promote our club today in advance on his account so you can see it. You know, everybody knows you got a YouTube free, comes with your Gmail. If you don't, you know now. Go to your Gmail account. That's the only way I work is with Microsoft and Google. You have to have a Gmail account to work with me in writing. The reason is it's free and everybody knows everybody's watching everybody anyway, so I ain't even about that anymore. So they go by your phone and your IPC code, and I don't have anything to hide, but for writers, you want to be known. So go to your Gmail, look at those 9 dots, there's 3 rows of 3, hit it, and it'll open up a little window, and go to the YouTube and hit it, and that's your YouTube channel, free. Go in and put your name in there, and it'll show you how to do it, just like a Facebook account, and set your YouTube account up. Now, everybody's talking about Facebook and all that, but all those that are building their Patreon account because they're an artist or a writer like host like Richard and I, is they're all putting up their Patreon account to get followers and fans. So it's science fiction.
You're fading in and out.
I wonder why it fades, Richard. Oh,
I don't know.
I heard an ambulance. It went by. That's amazing. You think that can do it too?
I don't know.
Right, when you said that, I heard, go by ambulance. Mm-hmm. Well, we're just, after 9 years, this is what we've got, and the best we can do is the powers that be. Now, my phone, Richard, goes through Blog Talk in New York, but it also goes through the tower here in Gulf Breeze. But it also goes through my internet, which is Mediacom, right? MEDIA.com. They cover me. And when GoDaddy checked my IPC code, it went through Houston. So anybody that's looking me up out there that are the hacker types will go into Mediacom in Houston. They won't go into me here at my house. Now, I don't know how that works. And GoDaddy told me, I don't know. You'll have to go through your carrier. So, Richard, just telling you, but you'll probably need me to email you all that, right? Because you're going to be our internet security with me for Homeland Security type stuff and computer security. Now, I've started my fixmywebs.com. Richard, if you want to learn the business, anybody else that wants to learn the business and security online to keep out hackers, good luck, but I'm going to do my best because I've got too much money invested. Even though I don't got a pot to piss in, it don't matter how rich people get, they still don't have a pot to piss in the South. Never figured that one out. But they also said they didn't have a window to throw it out of. I told you we were going to be entertainment today. Richard, what do they mean when they say they don't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of? What does that mean?
That means they really have no home.
Oh. Well, I got a home. So
yeah,
I have
but
a pot.
yeah, well. I mean, in the old days, I guess that's the way it was done, you know. I mean, other than, of course, outhouses.
Well, I learned that from Kentucky and living there 20 years, and that's where I picked up the accent, because I swear for 10 or 20 years I got tired of people saying I didn't have an accent. Where are you from? They'd say, you don't have an accent. But that's when I worked for the government in and out of country, and I was on jets more than I was on the ground. Plus, I was flying jets once in a while or a plane. So now I have an accent from living 20 years, and that was on a case. I was assigned a case, Richard. My husband was my assignment. And I don't know how people are going to feel about that if I tell the truth.
Well, let's not go there right now. We can write that in a book. You know,
that's already here for 9 years. So it's all here, folks, if you want to listen to it from here in time. But Richard and I are going to put together from here forward, but then we'll have to fade back, but put some cliffhangers. So, Richard, the debris, you don't know anything about Roswell, the implosion, because that was part of this for 9 years here on this show, or my husband and my show, and our investigations. So you don't know anything about 9 years of TJ Marcici Radio, but that's what's here, folks, is the real deal. But you know what? Most people aren't real researchers or real investigators, and they won't go back to all the archives here because that means there's a lot of work, a lot of listening, and a lot of writing. And the truth, they'll say the truth will set you free, but you know what? There's a lot of work into doing all that to write a real book of history. But it's going to be here till I die, and then I don't know what's going to happen to it. So we may have to get a trustee set up for a nonprofit and put it all there, I guess. I don't know, or either give it all to the Smithsonian, because that's what happens. Most people will just give it to the Smithsonian, and it'll get locked up in underground, and people won't know it 100 years from now. Now, my husband put some information in a couple of time capsules. He found out where they were going to be doing them and flew in there. And I happened to know about them, and he had an attorney in Europe that knew about it, and the intelligence agency knew about it. And he put one in Egypt that I knew about, and his sister knew about, and the intelligence agency came and visited him in the hospital. Now, Richard has that story. So, Richard, I just told everybody where mine and your story with Debbie began. Now, that's for the past 9 years, okay, Richard?
Yes.
So what you'll do is take what you got from me and Debbie visiting my deceased husband as an intelligence agent for the vegetable soup people and start that as the backstory of 9 years here. And then you'll have whoever wants to do that, we'll give them that opportunity, and we may give them the rights if they want to listen and let us edit it. How's that? For those that don't have the ability to come up with the stories to get into our series, they can go back and do the investigations. Whew, that'll be a lot of research. But me and Richard are going to write off the top of our head. I'm going to give it to Richard, and then Richard will add his little part and edit it, and we'll get them out there as soon as we can. Now, Richard, I want you to help me. Let's look around at the best places because one of my editors that edits books with me told me a couple other places where she's getting better pay. And we'll get her on here one day. She's sort of shy, like my daughter. But I'd like her to come on here. Anybody else you'd like to bring on about helping us as real press people or real investigators or journalists or authors or editors? You know anybody that's into that besides Gigi?
Not sure at the moment.
Okay. Well, you talk for a while now. We got 35 minutes left.
Well, I was just going to suggest that possibly we wind it up a bit early, if you didn't mind, because I mean, you know, it's the occasion is it's all focused on the fact that you've been around for 9 years, and we haven't actually even touched upon what you've accomplished or what your sentiment is in having been here for 9 years.
Well, it's all in the stories that we've told for 9 years, unless we started all over again.
Oh no!
It's all it's all in the history.
All in the archives, as they say then.
Yeah, it's all in the archives. So if we start over today, we've got 9. It's a 9th year. Number 9 is a completion. Today is the day. Can't we wrap all that up in a big archive bow? And I don't know. Anything as of this day has to be a separate book or separate series. 9 years. Would you, as an investigator or journalist or author or writer or publisher or editor, would you go back and separate it by years? Because that sounds like a whole team of researchers. I mean, I don't even want to think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We'll just touch upon the parts of the past that are the most interesting, that hold the most intrigue. And, you know, we'll derive a person's interest. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and I would love to hear my husband's voice here and there if I could go back and reminisce, but I know it'll touch my heart and it'll be hard, so I may have to get somebody else to do that. But Janet said she wasn't going to help me no more, or do the books, because, you know, that's her own thing. She's doing her own thing with her husband. So I don't have anybody. And Debbie, she could if she'd go back and listen, because she has the time and the willpower. But me and Richard are going to write me and Richard. And, Richard, you got good story. You got 12 hours. You can go back and grab off of Janet's, right? Your history. But you didn't put it all in that. Now, you've got a book. How many chapters are in that book that's not published yet?
I don't know, at least 20.
So you got, let's say, 20 chapters or 20 years of history that you're personally...
Oh, it's more than that. It's more than that. It's from birth, basically, all the way up to around the age of maybe 40, 45, somewhere in there.
Well, then that's a kaleidoscope, too. Or is that just a looking glass or one of those turning telescopes? I don't know. That's your memoirs, right?
Well, it's called The Truth Seeker. I mean, you know, so.
Oh, you named your book The Seeker?
Yeah, The Seeker.
By Rick Knight, or what are you going to lose as a by name? Richard T. Knight or Rick Knight?
Probably just Richard Knight, I would guess.
Richard Knight, okay, because there's so many of you Richard Knights out there.
Well, Richard T. Knight then. I mean, you know, hey.
Yeah, for your authorship to make sure you get the money.
Or maybe I'll just put a different spin on it and use a Gaelic name or something, you know?
Well, the better with people out there to find you is still best to have one name. I learned that the hard way by being T.J. Thurmond Morris, Theresa J. Morris, D.J. Morris, and they're all me. But people remember you by what you tell them in their ear, because all those years when I came through Facebook, people said they couldn't find me because I had so many. It's because I had so many different radio shows or businesses or books. T.J. Morris, E.T. Radio, T.J. Thurmond, T.J. Morris, Theresa J. Morris, and now I've got 15 or 20 Facebooks. So with you, I suggest one Richard T. Knight YouTube channel, one Richard T. Knight book series. But your first series, let's use yours like we use all my books I've already written. for Lulu and on Amazon. But as of today, you and I are going to be ACO Press Club, ACO Association, for the unincorporated association of all our friends. Now we can start mixing and matching our LinkedIn people and our Twitter people and our Facebook people. Those are all free open source information to the whole world, and everybody puts whatever they want, pictures, stories, whatever, but they're teaching us to use it better. And I haven't. Have you learned how to use Facebook yet? I haven't, to be honest.
In regards to what?
All the stuff they offer you besides
they've added rooms, they've added billboards in regards to photographs and that kind of thing. Of course, they've added your story has been on there for quite some time, where you can actually even do blogs or actually, set up pictures, all kind of different things.
Okay. Well, I've got a bunch of TJMRCT radio. I think I've got ACO Club, ACO Press Club, but we'll have to go find which one we're going to put together and build a following on that social media group for today, ACO Press Club. Now, I've got you out there as the ACO Association president on YouTube, honorary, and then we'll start a membership today and get you on at least on one of the meetings where we're going to write articles weekly about something, and our Men in Black story. And I've got a table deal for book series, and then we'll have our ebooks and our PDFs, and some of them, if people want to read on the Patreon, Richard, I suggest, I can't make you, but I would ask you as a writer to fix you a Patreon. I'm asking everybody that's listening, patreon.com. Some kid musician and stuff figured that out, but it's really caught on to have a Patreon to build fans and to learn how to use Patreon with your YouTube. I'm going to learn how to do that, and told Richard about it. Told my other Valdosta guy, Tom, I better mention him today, Thomas Reuben Becker, T.R. Becker, artist, author, graphic designer. T.R. Becker, he's also an author with American Communications Online, self-publishing. And Richard and I can put us some books in that, American Communication Online, because we have a business. That'll be our holding company, has a separate, and we can do the books under that separate from his name or my name. And that's all T.R. Becker knew, too, is if he got any sales, we could see it under that holding company. So if you're interested in writing with Richard and I and others that are in radio, there's no cost to get involved except a $2 membership fee. And Richard and I will take that and pay our overhead for the radio show. And then now I'm going to tell you, for me and Richard and all these editors out there, they charge between 2 and 5 cents a word to edit. So use your Grammarly. And then Richard will do a meetup group for like a Skype meeting or something with Ken. But we'll talk about that next week, folks, because we'll be lucky to get Ken here Sunday. Now, you want to show up Sunday since we're on the 30 minutes. You want to let the last 30 minutes go. So you want to do our spiritual science, Ascension Church Ohana, just to see, open the doors, and anybody wants to come and talk metaphysics, church, science, whatever, right?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and do Sundays. Now, Friday night is supposed to be with a New Orleans guy, or day, because he said he had to start working nights, but he said Friday was fine. So I told Richard if Richard can show, but I don't know if he'll do 5 to 7, Richard, on Friday. So let me get you coordinated. That's Scott Breen. He's brand new, SCOTTBREEN, Ace Folklife president in New Orleans. So Richard's going to do ACO, and Scott's going to do ACE, Man on the Street, bring people to tell their stories, and then maybe be characters in our books. But he does AR and VR, virtual reality, audiovisual and virtual reality. All right, Richard, we'll give up today. 9 years. Thank you, everybody that's helped me get to where I am today. And Richard is our new, as of today, Richard. Now, I know we've got you here before, so that'll be your past history, okay? Today marks the day of Rick Knight, ACO Association, and ACO Press Club, okay?
Okay.
Got it? All right, as
Yep.
writer in Men in Black story, all right, MIB story. All right, and I'll start working on that one with Debbie and you, and we'll start with that and move forward or backwards. All right, love and light, Richard. Thank you so much. Look forward Sunday, right?
Yep.
All right, thank you so much, Richard.